Just drinking some
Cheers.
coffee here.
A little Friday afternoon coffee, talking high level, productive, awesome week. What do we do? What do we do this weekend? Had an awesome virtual happy hour with Trevor. Good
Trevor from Carrot.
conversations.
Yep.
Yep, Trevor from Carrot. Good conversations. Good Academy Q&A calls. High level thinking. A lot of good stuff.
And gearing up for the Fire Yourself Challenge, which is the new exciting thing that we're working on that we feel like is going to be a really great value for the community because it's free 5 days of training and really high level working on your business activities, which I feel like is very needed right now. People have a lot more time than they usually do. Have you been hearing from people that they feel more productive now than they ever have been because of the quarantine?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you feel like that is true, or do you feel like just the fact that they're working longer makes them feel more productive? You know what I mean?
The latter, because I've even told before we start recording and the last meeting I had with Shay, an Academy member, it's everybody has more time now, and you can kind of like fill that up with being less efficient and just kind of stretching it out. Like even myself, middle of March to end of March, I wasn't as productive, even though I was like working around having the same time. April, once I did some adjustments, April started kicking butt there and being more productive in the same amount of time. And May is going to continue that curve as well. But yeah, everybody, that's the variable that's changed. Everybody has more time now.
Yeah. And even though it's not necessarily a sexy thing to like be more productive or learn how to be more productive, working on the right thing right now is more important than ever for businesses in our industry to like not only be able to capitalize on what's happening, like with the distress in our market, but also to just like survive kind of, you know what I mean? Like be productive or die.
Yeah.
And that is sort of why I feel like our brand and our message is like perfectly primed for what's happening right now, because we're all about operations, right? And working on the right thing and focusing on the 80-20. And the 80-20 is building systems for other people to do their job really, really well. Not for you to be the one executing on everything. Most investors aren't really taught that, or at least it's mentioned a lot by a lot of coaches and stuff. Like you got to delegate stuff. You have to systemize your business, but nobody ever really shows you how to do that. Like, what does that mean? What is a process? What is a system? Like, is just having software good enough? Like, I feel like a lot of people lean on that. They feel like if they have enough tools is integrated into Zapier, that they have a systemized business. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much more than that. And that's kind of what we teach people in the 80-20 Investor Academy. But we're bringing this information to the masses. Basically, the thing that people pay thousands of dollars for in the Academy, we're chunking it down to the essential few things that will get you on the path to a more 80-20 business, that you can fire yourself from these kind of trivial tasks that aren't really making you extra money. So you can focus on these higher leverage, higher dollar per hour activities. That's sort of what the goal of this challenge is. And it's going to be over 5 days, starting on May 13th through 19th. So go check that out right now. There's a lot of information on the website. It's investorfuse.com/challenge. You can sign up for free. You get added to the group. It's going to be in a Facebook group, which is going to be really cool. So we're broadcasting all these trainings into the Facebook group, and we are just going to be engaging and connecting and making sure that everybody has their questions answered inside the group. Basically just bringing the community together around this concept of let's be entrepreneurs during the pandemic. Let's not be randomly doing deals without a clear end goal in mind. And let's build a real business around this that will serve us for life, not just during the pandemic. You know?
100%. I mean, just with the times too, it's interesting, or ironic, I guess, that this is an 80-20 lever for us to help people and companies and entrepreneurs out, because we get asked all the time just about our back end operations. So really we are systematizing, like the way that we thought about this, and even the Academy in general, is like, how can we help the most amount of entrepreneurs or people at one time and put it into a nice systemized way, teaching them essentially the same principles. So that's pretty much how the challenge organically came to be. Definitely something that could have been charged for, since it's going to be, me and Dan every day in the Facebook group going live. But that was pretty much the best way that we could give back and add free value for you guys and whoever's checking it out in like a nice condensed week of adding value, and then also putting you in a community to help jumpstart that with accountability and just being able to connect with other people. So that's kind of how this organically came to be, the challenge.
We're shutting the group down too. It's only, we're going to have it live for like a week after it's done, and then we're going to archive it. So it's kind of like this short time of just like really focused execution on working on, or even above your business, getting out of the trenches a little bit, debottlenecking yourself, understanding where you're spending your time, and really doing like a true time audit of what you're doing every single day. Cause you have to really be looking at yourself from 30,000 foot view. Otherwise you're just going to always be working a job. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're going to help people do. I'm really excited. And like you said, like we're kind of gets to showcase what we do every single day. Like people that aren't CEOs or owners of your company can even benefit from this as well. Everybody on our staff practices what we preach. Like you were just talking to me earlier about how, describe what you, like the revelation you had about the podcasting stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to give a quick insight of just something that I've been working on and kind of my progression through the quarantine and how it's been, I mentioned that in the middle of March, like when we first started getting on quarantine, and this is something like a huge mentor of mine, Trevor, has been posting content as well. You kind of take in the vibes and energy from the collective, like humans as a whole or entrepreneurs as a whole, whatever social circle. So like I noticed a little dip in productivity. I wasn't working out as much as I typically do when like the gym and basketball court, yoga studios open. So I set out just some small goals based off Jesse Itzler, who's a part owner of the Atlanta Hawks. So I started making just some projects, objectives, to-dos that I want to do in my personal life and also investor fees related, the only thing I'm doing for work and career. So the one thing for me is a lot of that is either investor fees, brand, marketing, podcasts. So right now what happens is all the podcasts right now, I do a virtual on Zoom here. And then I record on Zoom, the video, the audio on a separate program. So pretty much for me to clip up the audio how I like it, edit an intro, outro, everything like that, have all that stuff decompress, and then put it on all the respective platforms to have it go on every single podcasting platform, YouTube, then into a blog, and then scheduling out an email blast that out. When I took a look, it's a lot of work and time that it's something that you just say, and this is a lot of entrepreneurs, people signing up for this challenge, everybody, that you go, oh, you know what? It's only going to take an hour or two. I'll just do it. And then I'll do it the right way, everything like that. So even me with a dip in productivity in March to the end of April from quarantine, April, I was able to knock that out. I spent probably between 3 to 4 hours mind mapping out that entire process, and then making process videos around that, uploading that into our own documentation tool called Tetra, assigning that out to my team, and now we're going to see progress. I'm going to save 1 to 2 hours per episode just on doing that. So after 2 episodes, that ROT, the return on time, is going to pay for itself. And then for the next year, if we do 1 episode per year, it's going to be 520 hours that I save in time that I can now use towards whatever. Like I can kind of analyze and see where I want to spend my time, or do other stuff related to that. But that's kind of something that you consistently do. And that's what I go all in on. I was just talking to Academy member Shay before this, in my content, some of the stuff I say is a Socrates quote that the unreflected life is one not worth living. If you don't have a systematic way to not just like reflect in your personal life, but specific for this content on what you're doing in business and how you're spending your 168 hours per week and kind of just looking at different things and making small adjustments, you're losing huge opportunities that the return on time or quality of life is unquantifiable, really.
Mm-hmm. To quote one of our friends and mentors on delegation, like you said, I'll just do it myself. It's just going to take an hour. When you just keep doing that, it's death by 1,000 cuts, 1,000 little paper cuts that adds up to just burnout and stalls out across every area of your business. So understanding how to get pleasure out of creating systems, because all of the time that you're spending into that will save you like a disproportionate amount of time in the future. Like to your point, 52 hours a year. Is it 52 or 520?
Well, if it's 2 hours, it would be times that. Not a numbers guy.
100.
Yeah, 100. Yeah,
100 hours for 3 hours of work.
Yeah,
time is an
exactly.
asset. You know, it's just like if you spend marketing dollars, if you spend one marketing dollar, you want to return more than $1. If you spend an hour doing something, you want that to return, like you want to buy back that time by spending time. So people just need to think of time as an asset. I feel like people don't do that right now. And it's because of the short-term gratification of like doing it yourself, being connected to the actual task because your ego wants to feel like it has a purpose in your company, versus doing the work that can extract yourself or fire yourself from that task that you might not even like doing in the first place. You know, like it's not like you're passionate about distributing podcast episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And the surgeon analogy, it's a TFO, a Tim Francis original trademark.
Yeah.
The surgeon analogy is like great. So even in that context, like a surgeon doesn't go to the office or hospital, answer the reception phone desk, look at a calendar, book appointments, follow up on appointments, see what they do. He literally just shows up, gets handed a file, does X amount of surgeries per day, takes off his scrubs, goes back home. Similar thing for that. And I'm breaking this down just for one specific process, but it's applicable for everybody across the board, and I'll explain why. But even for that of the analogy, like if I was fully in on marketing, brand, podcast, I would literally, the ideal surgeon analogy is I literally just check in. I have my podcast interviews on my calendar. I have someone that does I've had somebody already prep me interview notes and questions to ask, topics to discuss. And then literally as soon as I finish the interview, somebody else takes that and chops that up for me. But starting now, or what we've had in place now, is I can pretty much finish the interview, edit it myself, which takes a little bit of time. And then when I hand that process off for posting and publishing, that's going to save me roughly 1 to 2 hours for doing all that stuff, even potentially 3, because uploading to YouTube takes a while. But as I was going through that process with Shay, who I mentioned earlier, when I was making the process videos, you get to a point, and that's one thing that anybody that joins this challenge, I think, is something that you'll kind of get taught, or like that feeling of, because I know it's popular to do processes, and I know a lot of people that make process videos, but we go deeper than that in the challenge. But I remember when I was making the podcasting, publishing videos, in like the second or third one, I even said to myself when I was going through, I was like, I got happy. I was like, look at you, boss. You're just doing all this stuff, systematizing all this stuff. That's a small example of you start getting fulfillment and happiness from seeing the long-term play of what you're doing. Spending 3 hours making process videos, but then, after an episode publishes, if it takes 2 or 3 hours to do that, your return on time is already met, and then you're just playing with house money moving forward and everything as far as the return on time.
It's just such a crucial mindset.
Yeah.
And you can't really feel that until, one, you feel the pain of having to do everything yourself. And then 2, you haven't felt the benefit of that compounding over time. Right. And for me, like, I have to like thank my lucky stars, because it took a long time for me to like remove myself from customer support for InvestorFuse, and a lot of the sales stuff for InvestorFuse, and a lot of the IT and product stuff for InvestorFuse. Like it took a couple of years, but now I'm not really hardly doing anything customer facing, and I'm just focusing on high level strategy and marketing strategy. I'm still bottlenecking marketing a little bit. I'll be vulnerable, but that's just something that I'm going to work on, just as I've done with everything else. And now, like if I took a step back and I realized, it's like, man, if I was doing customer support right now, we would not be where we are.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I've experienced the benefit of adapting this mindset, and I feel like I'm still growing and learning how to be better at analyzing like what my time is worth, and making sure that I'm spending all of my time on surgery, if you will. So a surgeon should only be doing strategy, high level skill, and access. So strategy being meeting with the patient, diagnosing, reviewing the x-rays, making the diagnosis. High level skill would be performing the actual surgery. And then access would be like getting prescriptions or connecting to other doctors and stuff like that. Everything else, like contacting the patient, everything you said, booking the room, washing the instruments, all this stuff, if you equate it to a wholesaling business, everything other than high level strategy, the skill of negotiating and hiring people and growing a real estate investing business, and access being like maybe access to funds or private money, stuff like that. That's where you should be spending all your time. And if you're only spending your time on that, just imagine how much money you can make. Like your dollar per hour rate goes up. And that is the goal of entrepreneurship, is to understand how to increase your dollar per hour rate. And that means that, if you're making $5,000 per hour, then you only need to work a couple hours per week or you can work 80 hours per week and just make a ton of money, but at the risk of burnout and, other areas of your life suffering. Mm-hmm. But by no means is the fire yourself challenge, to your point earlier, Carlos, a way to like, I don't want to work at all. Mm-hmm. Right? Could you talk a little bit about what we were talking about before, like the caveat behind the fire yourself phrase?
Yeah, fire yourself. When I was seeing it, it's like, I think people might get caught up on if you were saying like fire yourself the title versus like a specific process.
Yeah. Like exactly. Like you don't want to like fire yourself out of your business altogether. Maybe not right away, etc.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that is just like clarity and getting understanding, which I feel like most people don't do to a certain specific extent, of just seeing how much time you're spending on activities, whether they're recurring or one-off things that pop up. So the fire yourself challenge I've been talking with Dan is more so like getting momentum in what I just described, what I've been doing on the marketing side for our business, is like just firing yourself from one specific process at a time. That's going to free you up for a certain time allotment, not specifically like an entire department at a time. Because I think people might get caught up in firing yourself from a certain position. Like, actually, this is what I hear all the time. Oh, I'm still doing acquisitions for my company. And they see it as almost like ripping off a Band-Aid of like, I need to fire myself from every single acquisitions related activity at one time. You're better off utilizing the Zorro Circle principle, which is essentially just doing one little action in a small circle towards that. So if you're a CEO or operator listening to this, a lot of you guys are still involved in the acquisitions leg of your business, but maybe the very first process of that, post-quarantine time, is you're just not going to go on seller lead appointments anymore. So you get a nice playbook, you get a John Martinez sales playbook on how to go on appointments, do X, Y, Z, you train, an acquisitions rep or whoever to do those appointments. You're still maybe looped in for due diligence and final offer price and things like that nature, but you can at least start delegating one piece of that process off at a time. And you're more so firing yourself from a process than an entire department of your company.
Yeah. And another point to that is you're firing yourself from stuff that drains your energy. Mm-hmm. Like, this isn't just a question of dollar per hour work. It's a question of like energy per hour. It's like, is this giving me energy or draining energy? So Trevor just like blew everybody's minds on the virtual happy hour on Wednesday, talking about his energy audit that he does. There's a lot of steps that go up to it, but the simple exercise in the energy audit is just making 2 columns of stuff that gives you energy, stuff that drains your energy. And the stuff that drains your energy becomes your priority list of stuff to eliminate, automate, or delegate away from you. Mm-hmm. And that compounds, because now with that extra time, you can spend it not only with higher level, strategy, high level access, and high level skill type of work, like the surgeon work that actually give you energy. But you'll be making more money at the same time. So, and that starts to compound as you do this continuously every single day. I think the ratio, I forgot where I read this. I might have read it in Austin Netzley's new book, which is really awesome, From 6 to 7 Figures, 6to7book.com, I think is what it is. And he says that 30% of your time should be working in the business, 70% should be working on the business.
It's a good framework to work from.
Yeah. And you should be doing the stuff that you enjoy. Like, by all means, fire yourself from the stuff you hate. But if you still love to do due diligence, if you still love to get in there and mess with the PPC, if you still love to pull comps, if you still love to manage the VAs and the marketing and the data and the skip tracing, if that's your jam, perfect. You're an entrepreneur. You're in control. You can design, you can build your business around your ideal work day and work life. And that is really what it's all about, because otherwise you're just going to burn out and you're going to regret not having worked smarter instead of just brute forcing everything. And that's what the challenge is all about. This is what we're passionate about, if you can't tell from this podcast. So let's break down. You want to break down how the days are going to go?
Yeah, hit it, man. That's on you.
So the Fire Yourself Challenge is 5 days to free up 10 plus hours per week, so you can build a pandemic-proof investing machine that closes deals without you. And on the website, there's a really like a pretty solid video that sums everything up, but I'll also do it here. investorfuse.com/challenge is how you can sign up for this free thing. It starts on May 13th. And essentially, like, the mission is like, if you stopped working today, would your real estate investing business survive? And if the answer is no, then sign up for this training right now, because we're going to put you on the path to a more self-sustaining, more financially resilient, more predictable investing business model. We're not going to show you how to do deals. This is not for newbies. This isn't for people that want to learn how to wholesale or assign their first contract. This is for people that want to understand how to run a business that doesn't rely on you. It's a strategic. When I talk about strategy, I talk about the strategy of how you're setting your business up and how you're building it so that it can actually grow without you. So entrepreneurial strategy is what we talk about. We don't talk about real estate strategy per se, although we're going to have a lot of experts inside of the community that are contributing and answering questions about real estate strategy. I know we'll have people like Blair Halver in there that are really good at creative financing and stuff like that. These are all great tools to have, but the big picture here is what we're talking about. So here's how we're going to break it down. Day one, on May 13th, we're going to get right into it, and we're going to talk about developing your 80-20 vision. And the 80-20 vision is exactly what I just mentioned. It is a mental model of thinking and seeing the world in the Pareto principle frame. Pareto principle is the 80-20 principle. 20% of your efforts create 80% of your results. This is the underpinning philosophy behind everything that we coach and train in this program. And it is the underpinning philosophy for my whole life, pretty much. Like, I want to make sure that I'm spending my energy on the most effective things. So we're going to talk about that a lot on day one, because this is the biggest strategic shift that you need to make in your business. Your biggest strategic shift is not your marketing campaign. It's not your wholesaling strategy or what offers you're making. It's not how good your follow-up messages are. Those are all important. This is more important right now, because the businesses that don't think this way aren't going to make it through this pandemic, or they're going to barely make it through, right? And we want people to thrive through this, because there's so much opportunity for investors right now that it's crazy. So that's what we're talking about on day one. So you can start to become a master of your systems instead of being a slave to your systems. You want to be the one that's controlling the business engine instead of being stuck in the engine and not able to escape it. And it all starts with the exercise that I'm going to give you on day one. So don't miss that. Then on day two, which is going to be on the 14th, we're talking about time and finding out what your time is worth. This is the part that might scare some people, because you're going to see where you're at now, and then you're going to see your potential. And that gap is going to make you a little bit concerned, right? Because you might find that your average hourly rate right now is only $7 per hour, when you could be making $10,000 per hour. And we're going to help you close that gap. I'm going to help you just get an awareness around this. And there's a really good exercise that has helped a lot of our clients called the Freedom Focuser exercise. I'm going to walk you guys through and get you guys a higher dollar per hour rate so that you're able to make more with less effort and time. So that's going to be all day 2. Really important. And I just break it down so it's just really simple for you to do this. Day 3 is when we start talking about bottlenecks inside of your real estate investing business. And there are 2 huge bottlenecks in every single real estate investing business. We're going to walk through how to exactly de-bottleneck yourself from those 2 big bottlenecks on day 3. I'm telling you, this is super 80-20 stuff. We're not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to give you exact resources and tools that you can use just to like completely remove yourself from that. And then on day 4, we're talking about the GPS system. So first we talk about just freeing up your time and de-bottlenecking your pipeline so that you can have predictable deal flow and not being the one dropping the ball on leads or on conversion of your leads. And then we talk about the GPS system. So the GPS system is an analogy that we use for setting goals. And we are going to show you how to set goals the 80-20 way. And this is where we bring in, John's going to show you how to use, we have this awesome spreadsheet that basically calculates target KPIs that will help you achieve your financial top line revenue goals. And when you have these numbers spelled out the way that we show you, it makes hiring people a lot easier because now you're going to have very specific attainable goals for people when you hire them in. And then on day 5, we're going to talk about making your next hire. And at the end of day 5, you're not only going to have a method for recruiting and finding this hire, but you're going to have just basic foundations for how to delegate stuff effectively based on our experience running a software company and running a real estate investing business. And we're going to show you exactly how to make that first job post or your next job post if you already have someone on your team and you just need to hire someone else. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is the essential piece of the puzzle because you cannot scale a multi-7-figure real estate investing business by yourself. And we're going to just make this as streamlined as possible so you can get that ad up. And then we'll show you what the roadmap is going to look like from there on out in terms of now what, like how do I continue this journey and scale things up? And really excited to walk people through this because this is the thing that I obsess about the most. And I hope that you guys will sign up and get a lot of value out of it. It's free. So share this with folks who you think are going to get a lot of value out of it, but don't mistake that for how much actual value you're going to get out of it. I want you to actually show up to these trainings. I want you to engage. I want you to ask questions because we're really rallying our entire tribe to come into this group and help as many people as possible do this so that they can come out of this COVID thing just a stronger business than they were before. Mm-hmm. And that's the Fire Yourself Challenge.
Mm-hmm. Well, what time is it going to start on the 13th and what's the overall schedule look like for the day-to-day and what's the interaction going to look like?
On the 13th, I know we're starting at 12 EST and we're going to post a schedule of events inside of the group. But once you sign up, we're going to send you a link for the Facebook group. Click on that link, request to join it. And then 3 days before it starts, so on the 10th, we're going to add everybody into the group and start engagement. Also, when you sign up, we're going to give you some pre-training. And that pre-training is going to be our cash injector training. Because I know a lot of you, in order for yourself to sort of free yourself up and start working on your business, you want to make sure that you're in a good cash position. So inside of the cash injecting trainer, Nick Perry and Nick runs Want to Sell Now, which does multi-6 figures per month, virtually wholesaling. We walk through 38 specific strategies to make more money from your existing leads, access capital through stuff like 0% interest credit, stimulus program stuff, and then how to save more of your money. 38 different strategies that you can implement right now just to kind of pad your bank account and weather the storm. So that's going to be your first thing that I want you guys to go through, and you're going to get that for free as soon as you sign up. So that'll keep you occupied up until we let you into the group. And when you get into the group, I'd love to hear you, who you are, and just introduce yourself. And any specific challenge that you're having right now, I encourage you to share that inside of the group. And Carlos and I will make sure that you get an answer to that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, just the networking in there is going to be awesome. Just from meeting other entrepreneurs digitally that are all home, that could be working on this type of stuff, and really set them apart from the pack and really just better themselves. They start having this mindset, implementing this stuff, getting some confidence and momentum doing it in the challenge, and then moving forward, just doing that as standard.
Yep. Exactly. This is we're teaching you how to fish. Teaching you how to fish.
Mm-hmm.
What's the saying? If you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If you teach a man how to fish, he'll sit around on the boat and drink beer all summer.
Yep. Give a man a 10K assignment check. He'll pay some bills, take the family out for a nice dinner. Teach a man how to systematize a business. He can create a family legacy.
Yeah. Boom. So that is what we've been working on.
Carlos Zamora, attorney at law.
Attorney at law. Well, what else do we got going on?
Man, we got a lot of stuff. Podcasting wise, got a ton of people, got a ton of cool guests, ton of cool feedback. Product wise, I mean, that's our core, and that's our baby really, and our 80/20. That is getting really rave reviews. If John was on this call, I'd have him do a detailed, product roadmap or where we're at, because I know that he's with our in-house dev, daily getting updates. But that's a super clean system, which of course encompasses this whole 80/20 mindset, which is very stoic in principle as far as like trying to maximize the most out of every single day. The way that you do that is really through leveraging systems. When it
Systems and people.
Systems and people, yeah.
Yep. And if you get an amazing lead manager, for instance, and plug them into InvestorFuse, that is a system that can completely outsource like a huge part of your business. That's going to ultimately make you more money, keep you focused on sales. I think that's the 80/20 that we realize in the real estate investing business is sales. Like that's the thing that makes you money. And yet there aren't a lot of tools that help you focus on sales. This is the reason why John Martinez crushes it so much, because people need that training. That's where the rubber meets the road. Our technology supports methodologies like that. It just puts you in front of sellers easily without having to worry about all that administrative, automated, techie stuff beforehand, automating your follow-up and all that stuff. So yeah, that's the 80/20 of what we provide. And we just happen to build software for that. Everything kind of comes full circle, huh?
It does. It really does.
What are you doing on the biohacking front these days? Do you have any fasts coming up?
No, I'm due to put one in here as potentially. Maybe I'll even do it during the challenge. But no, I've more so just been consistently staying with the intermittent fasting, typically not eating till 5 or 6. And I love more so along the lines of being on the ketogenic diet, just for cognitive reasons, and also cool different foods that you would get to eat versus like a traditional nutrition plan. On the menu for tonight, I have some keto meatballs, ground pork, ground beef, ground Italian sausage mixed with almond flour breadcrumbs and Parmesan Asiago cheese, and I put a slice of mozzarella on top over like zucchini noodles. So I have left over for that I had this week.
Wow.
So good.
Holy crap, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Is dairy keto?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Heavy cream, mozzarella, cheese, everything grass-fed. Grass-fed. I have grass-fed regular butter, grass-fed ghee butter. Put that on everything. So like,
you might as well just eat grass.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I don't know. My main structure right now is intermittent fasting. Like I typically have one meat-based, like fatty meat-based meal like that, something really good. And then dessert, I typically have like a peanut butter, like a 1-ingredient peanut butter bowl. I might put some butter in there, coconut oil, blueberries, mix that all up, and it's like delicious.
That's your 80/20 right there.
That's 80/20. Mm-hmm.
Are you still eating that cookie butter, that keto cookie butter?
I ran out the last time. I haven't ordered it since the last time you were in Baltimore. That was like in the summer. It's so good, but I get regular macadamias. I mean, I should go to On It and get some of that because that stuff is amazing. The Snickerdoodle fat butter It's essentially like macadamia nuts blended into a butter with coconut oil, a little bit of sweetener, some cinnamon, some other stuff. It's
Is that on
delicious.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get that, and I need to get the keto coffee creamers. I know they have really good ones. They have like MCT oil like powders that you can put in your coffee, and it just like it's keto and it flavors your coffee. And I love black coffee, but I also
Let me
love
know if
like
you do.
bulletproof.
I'll send you a little Aubrey discount code.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I asked is on Tuesday, myself and some buddies from college actually, I'm convincing them to do a 3-day fast with me. So if
Nice.
you'd like to do it starting next Tuesday, if that syncs up with your
I can do
physical
that.
regime, then let's do it.
Yeah. What time are you eating Tuesday? Is the last time you're eating Monday?
I think Tuesday night and then breaking it on Friday.
Okay. Put it on my
Yeah, so
calendar.
Tuesday,
Start
Wednesday,
fast.
Thursday, and break it on Friday. Yeah. If anyone else wants to do that,
I
they're
would
not
love
going to
to
hear
start
this.
doing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they'll hear it. This will probably get released Tuesday, the day of. So like if they hear it this morning, we'll be starting the fast that night.
Well, I tell you what, join the challenge and then post in the comments when you get in the group that you're down to do a fast. And then we'll organize like a fast crew. We'll make like a WhatsApp channel and then get a fast crew of people that are in the challenge. I think that could be a cool little side thing that we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the app Zero. You can always see there's
Oh,
usually
yeah.
like 500,000, 600,000 people fasting at a time. Let me see if I'm logged in on my iPod here.
Social fasting. That's such a
Social
weird
fasting.
concept. Yeah,
Love
maybe we
it.
could. Can you create your own separate groups on there?
I'm not sure. I think you could probably get friends and stuff if we share a username. I'll look into it a little bit. Let's see. Yes. How crazy is that? 637,271 people are fasting right now.
I'd be curious to know if that is because of the quarantine or not.
Like an uptick? I wouldn't say. I mean, maybe there are more people fasting, but the last fast I did was probably like 2 months ago. Like multi-day fast was like 2 or 3 months ago. I try to do one every quarter. I've shot for 100 hours before, and I think I've failed on those attempts 3 times. The 3 times I've attempted, the most I've ever done, I think, is like 89 hours. But
You didn't fail. You still had a great outcome. It just wasn't the outcome that you expected.
Yeah. But some young real estate buddies here that listen to this show. So shout out Ben Moschel. I know he's pretty in rhythm, and Alex Schultz, they're pretty much in rhythm on. So they might be fasting right now. Actually, the first 3 days they'll do a 72-hour fast to start the month. So I kind of like that too.
Well, let's start wrapping it up, Los. This has been a fun chat. We very rarely get to just enjoy a cup of coffee and record a productive conversation about what we got going on, but maybe we'll do more of it. I think it'd be a good idea. Now is the time for investors. This is the moment of truth, I believe, for our real estate industry. This is the time to step up and reap the rewards of what is a distressed situation for a lot of people that need your help. And it really boggles my mind how many people are pausing their business right now. Yeah. And I just want to encourage you, if you're listening to this and you've considered pausing your business because of the uncertainty out there and the fear mongering about what's happening with potential recession and economy and unemployment and all the stuff that you hear, I encourage you that uncertainty is your biggest opportunity. And I really want you guys to lean into this moment, become the entrepreneur, become the leader that can build a business that will capitalize on this, lead from a place of service for these people that are experiencing financial distress, health distress, all of the distress, and do not pause your business. Join the challenge. Let's get clear on what your goals are. Let's understand where you're spending your time. Let's free yourself up so that you can build a pandemic-proof, recession-proof business that you can grow and scale without having to be the one at the helm doing everything yourself. This is no time to just be randomly executing with random spikes and deals here and there. Let's build a predictable hands-off engine that's going to churn out money day in and day out. Now is the time to do it. I've seen it done dozens and dozens and dozens, even hundreds of times by some of the best entrepreneurs out there. And it's a skill that I believe is accessible to anybody that has enough drive and desire and a willingness to change their mindset. And that is what the Fire Yourself Challenge is all about. So check it out at investorfuse.com/challenge. And I'll see you guys in there. And Carlos, this has been fun, man. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
A pleasure and a privilege as always. Thank you guys for checking it out, and catch you guys on Facebook in the challenge.
Peace.
Peace.